So here's a fun little experiment we get to witness in real time this weekend. Take a $170 million production, run it through 10+ test screenings because you can't figure out what movie you're actually making. Realize audiences aren't connecting with your lead, so you start cramming in scenes of a more popular character. Spend over $100 million on marketing. Watch it change absolutely nothing. Release it the same weekend Toy Story 5 is still dominating theaters, and have your lead actress call anyone who criticizes the movie sexist. That's Supergirl, and we're about to watch it faceplant. Most people don't realize that Superman, the movie Supergirl is supposed to be building on, actually lost money in theaters. After Superman wrapped its run with $618 million worldwide, Forbes actually broke down the math. There's $225 million production budget. There's also another $125 million in marketing, and the fact that studios only keep about half of ticket revenue. Warner Brothers netted around $308 million on a $350 million investment. The foundation of the entire DCU was built on red ink. So you'd think the pressure would be on to deliver something undeniable. Instead, they delivered a movie they clearly didn't believe in, and you can tell the studio knew they were in trouble because of what happened in the editing room. This movie went through more than 10 test screenings. That's more than any studio film this decade. They showed 3 completely different endings. They cut 25 minutes out of the runtime between January and release. But while they were cutting runtime, they were also adding footage, specifically more Superman. Each successive cut had more David Corenswet in it. By the final screening, they'd added so many Clark Kent scenes that Warner had to update the official cast credits, and they boosted Lobo too. He originally had about 5 minutes of screen time. When you're adding more of another character while cutting your lead's runtime, the message is pretty clear. They upped Superman and Lobo because Supergirl alone wasn't getting the job done. People in those test screenings weren't connecting with her, so they just kept adding more Superman to prop her up. Warner compensated with the biggest promotional partner campaign in DC Studios history, 80 brands over $100 million in combined media value. KFC, Samsung, American Airlines. KFC even ran promos during the World Cup and the NBA Finals. You couldn't buy fried chicken or board a plane without seeing Supergirl's face. And the tracking numbers kept falling anyway. When this movie first hit tracking back in early June, Deadline had it pegged around $55 million for opening weekend. That was the ceiling, and then the projections just started sliding, down to 48 by mid-month, now sitting in the low 40s. To put that in perspective, the Marvels opened to $46 million. Supergirl might come in below that. Morbius opened to $39 million. Joker 2 opened to $37. Those are the comparisons now. The Flash, which everyone agreed was a catastrophe, opened to $55 million, and that's already above Supergirl's best-case scenario. And the scheduling makes it even worse. Supergirl opens the same frame Toy Story 5 is cruising through its second weekend. Toy Story 5 is going to ease maybe 40 to 45%, which puts it somewhere between 88 and 96 million. Supergirl is tracking for roughly half of that. The trades have pretty much confirmed that Supergirl will open at number 2 behind a Pixar sequel's second lap. And then 5 days later, Minions arrives. Supergirl is stuck between 2 animated juggernauts. They're going to steal screens, steal attention, and basically bury this movie before it has a chance to find its legs. Now, everything I've talked about so far, you could maybe chalk that up to bad luck. Bad timing, studio mismanagement. But this next part, this was self-inflicted. The Millie Alcock press tour. Multiple outlets are now openly making the Rachel Zegler comparison, and it's the same playbook. Vanity Fair asked her a pretty softball question about whether Game of Thrones fandom had prepared her for superhero backlash. Her answer? It definitely made me aware that simply existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. We have become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. So before anyone had even seen the finished movie, the lead actress was already telling press that if you criticize this film, it's because you have a problem with women. And when the backlash to those comments became a story, she actually doubled down. If you're pissing the right kind of people off, you're doing okay. People are now comparing her press tour to the whole Snow White controversy. Similar approach, similar results shaping up. Gal Gadot didn't do this. Scarlett Johansson didn't do this. Even Brie Larson, for all the Captain Marvel controversy, still delivered a billion-dollar movie. Break-even is reportedly $340 million worldwide, and that's the trades being super generous. If this opens around $40 million domestic and follows typical legs, you're looking at maybe $100 million US total. Even if international doubles that, you're at $300 million, a loss on the generous math. The stricter calculation puts break-even closer to $435 million, which means it's going to lose up to $200 million.